Hello there, Di here again with another in my mixed media morsels. This is number 9. This is Whimsical Birds, and again, this is a brilliant background and I really enjoyed making this one. Just blotching on some paints, adding a little bit of a darker pink there to just give it a bit of extra depth, as Kat did in her demonstration. Blotting it on. The bit that was new for me for this was this next bit, where I'm using a baby wipe to blend and smooth the background, and to me it's softened beautifully and amalgamated the paints very well, and I would use this technique. I'm sure I will use it many times because I just love the effect that it gave to the background and the depth of colour. Here I've got some sort of plasterer's tape that I'm using as a small meshy stencil on my card with a little bit of sort of off-white acrylic paint. I found this paint, some old paint we'd used when we were doing up the little doll's house, so I get to use it up now. I haven't got an off-white, so it's very useful. Just adding that in a few little blotches, and here I've got some grey. I was wishing afterwards that I'd used silver here. It would have given a nice gleam to the background, but this grey is quite subtle. I'm using it on the bubble wrap, just wiping it on with a spongy brush and applying it in a few areas on the panel. It is quite subtle, you really can't see it there, but it's quite nice. You certainly get the texture of the shapes and the wrinkliness of the plastic. Shows quite nicely in the finished background. Just getting rid of the excess onto that little file card. Now I've got the little text stamp from the French Foliage Stamping Up set, which is quite a good size for when you just want a very fine line of text. At first I used the grey from this this stamp set, but it's subtle almost to the point of obscurity, so in the end I used some of the black salt, which as well as, and it shows up quite nicely. In fact, the light grey adds another layer of texture too, even though it's not obvious here. The very subtle grey and the black together is really quite nice. There it is, that's the finished background. I was really pleased with that. And there I've got the shapes I'd cut out from various book pages and bits of jelly print and some of that paper from the bottom of my spray box. So after drying the ink with a bit of a burst from the heat tool, I'm using some Liquitex matte varnish. I really like this because it's so fluid. I really like it particularly for napkins, but I have got to find a gloss. It's my next thing on my wish list, is the Liquitex gloss varnish. Here I'm just adhering the shapes, putting their little beaks on, trying to get them into position. I did mean to have that little one tucked under the wing of the mother bird, but it was adhered down before I sort of thought to move it. Here I'm just going through my little box of sprinkles, finding some black, suitably sized ones. There's something about beady little black eyes on birds that just appeals to me greatly, and I couldn't resist, even though they do have a little bit of dimension. So you can really alter the expression on the little birds by the position of the eyes. So I fiddle with that for a little while and then glue them down with some matte medium and my little dop stick with the toothpick with blue tack. Find some hearts to put on their chest for my little heart tin and pull out a few of the little flowers that I cut out from my butterfly playtime the other day, using up some of those things. Here you can see I've gone through round the birds with my Posca pen and outlined them. I've added the little free spirit text or sentiment and outlined that. There's something about the outlining that I don't quite get right yet. I think perhaps I might need to get maybe a dark grey or maybe some finer pens. I'm not too sure what it is. There's something that just doesn't appeal. I have got a wash pencil that I tried to use, but it was too soft. It didn't really, the colour was too soft. I didn't like it. But I don't really like that hard black either, so that's what I'm going to work on is how I outline things and how I emphasize them without ruining the piece. Here I'm just adhering it to the instruction panel, which I print off on the same file cards and then adhere to the back, so that going through the folder, when you flip up the panel, the instructions are there. Just blackening the edges with some archival jet black ink to give it more definition. And the card is just about done. Gosh, I'm ripping through them, aren't I? That's number 9. I've only got another 20 plus to go. Punching its holes and putting it into the little album. There we go. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye now.